Good morning, afternoon, and evening to our listeners across the globe, and welcome to In 12D. Today, we're in season four still, episode 40. We have an amazing guest with us in the studio. I'll first introduce my co host, Susie Vaughn. Susie, welcome.
Hey Ramsey, hi everybody. Good to be back again this week. I'm loving our new show format and the relaunch. It's very exciting, and I love the guests that we have coming in today. Like a beautiful woman. I had the pleasure of meeting her when I was in
Mm.
Sedona recently, and our guest is Eva Maurice, who is a spiritual counselor, a keynote speaker, and author. And ultimately, I think she believes that self love is the foundation of all evolution, hence the working title of today's episode. And that's really where we're going to dive straight in with you, Ava. Like, I know you're based in the US, and you're in lovely warm climate, not like myself over here in wet Ireland. But, it's really all about like, how did you come into this part of your own evolution? I know we talked before and you were telling me about your career in the corporate world, and then that pivotal moment, or that just dawning on you, and that aha, when you were like, okay, I've got to change some things. And if you want to just say hi and start right in there, that would be cool.
I would love that. Thank you so much, Susie. And thank you, Ramsey. I feel really honored to be on this podcast. And I'm very excited to share things with both of you and with all of the listeners. I feel like everything that I do is such a blessing. And I'm just so grateful to be here. So thank you very, very much for having me. I really appreciate it. I did work in corporate America for a little over 20 years. I actually went to college to become an actress. I studied theater at Arizona State University, and I absolutely loved it. It was my true passion. I miss it sometimes, but I bring some of those elements of performing into the work that I do, especially in my keynotes. And I found myself right out of college really needing to make money. And I had been cocktail waitressing most of college. And I got into working into a department store and worked at a cosmetic counter. And then I got recruited by Aveda. And Aveda was really pivotal for me. I like to mention that I worked for Aveda because during that time, they brought people in to speak to us, to the sales team, people like Deepak Chopra, for example, Louise Hay, Wayne Dyer, different people we were exposed to at the time that were just so, it was such a new experience for me in my early 20s to be exposed to these kind of speakers and this kind of philosophy. And Horst Reckelbacher, the originator of Aveda, was very into the spiritual realm. And I learned so much during that time. I was with that company for maybe 5 years or so. And I just felt so at home in this new kind of world. And I began teaching and training during that time. I moved to work for companies out of France, out of India, out of Italy. And that whole career was truly magnificent. I'm so grateful for every colleague I had, every client I had, every connection that I made. The downfall, aside from always having to make a goal, a quota, a sales, hit the target, that can be very stressful, obviously. But I absolutely loved working and training these people to how to use the product, how to do the treatment, how to talk about these products, and not feel like you're selling. And it was during one of my classes that I was sitting, here I am in this beautiful 5-star resort, and I'm sitting there with all these therapists, massage therapists, estheticians sitting around me. And I'm talking about, a $200 face cream. But at the end of the day, we're really talking about being humans and taking care of ourselves. And we have to take care of ourselves in order to take care of our clients. And in order to give the client the experience that they're paying good money for, you have to feel whole. And it would always come back around to that. And after these classes, men and women would come up and talk to me and like start telling me their life story. And I started realizing there's something here that I really love. There's something that that I can tap into. Even when I'm working in this other world, there is something that I really love. So fast forward 20 years in, my son is now 6 years old, and he's in first grade. And I'm traveling about 2 to 3 weeks a month for work. And it's very glamorous. I get to stay at 5-star resorts. I was working for the Italian company at the time, and I was just in Italy for a week. And I came from Italy to Vegas, and I did a big event on the strip at one of the 5-star resorts. And it was, it was a lovely, lovely world to live in. A lot of work, a lot of schlepping, a lot of sales pressure, but I loved it. That night in the Vegas airport that you're speaking of, Susie, I got a phone call from my son. I'm going to cry, sorry. And he won first place in his talent show. He won first place doing this really sweet magic trick that we worked on forever. And I wasn't there. I missed it. And that was just one thing. And I started thinking about, what else am I going to miss? What else am I going to miss because I'm working, because I'm making money? And it really broke my heart. And I remember, just like now, crying, and I'm eating cold nachos in the Vegas airport. It's like 11 o'clock at night, and I'm crying. And I actually made a Facebook post, and I don't remember exactly what it said, but something to the effect of, there has to be a way to support my family financially and feel passionate about what I do and be a mom first and be present for my son and not miss anything. And I believe it was that fall, this was in the spring, and I believe it was that fall that I enrolled in school to go to University of Santa Monica and study spiritual psychology. And I worked my way down the corporate ladder. So at the time, I was a regional manager of the Southwest or something like that. And I had other much, bigger territories. I had a smaller concentrated territory, but I was still traveling all the time. And I just started stepping down, stepping down, stepping down. Actually, the last job I had was, I worked for this company. I don't even remember the name of the company. They sold tchotchkes, like shot glasses and magnets for the fridge and keychains. And they said Sedona, but you turn it over and it said made in Taiwan or whatever. And I sold those little tchotchkes to all the little souvenir shops in Sedona and to Walmart in the next city over. And I remember I took quite a few clients while stocking the shelves, opening boxes, stocking shot glasses on the shelves, organizing the postcards while I have my earbuds in, taking my first clients, really getting my feet wet. And I'm just so grateful. And it was so humbling to step down that corporate ladder. And I remember the morning that I woke up, and I remember looking at my calendar so vividly and seeing that I had like 6 clients that day. And I was like, how am I going to stock the shelves and take these 6 clients? Can I do all the clients while I'm stocking the shelf? And I remember balancing it out in my head, and I thought, I think it's time. And I quit that job, and it was scary because it was guaranteed money, and I threw that out the window, and I took a chance. And I'll tell you, I'm sure you both, Susie and Ramsey, I'm sure you can both relate that if anybody had whispered in my ear that it was a 1 in a billion chance that I was going to actually make a living as a spiritual counselor, that it's probably not going to happen. If anybody had told me that, I don't know if I would have tried. But nobody said that. Nobody told me. I went in with complete ignorance of what the possibility was. And it was that beginner's mind, that complete unknown, the willingness to just take a chance. And that's why I'm sitting here with you guys today.
Wow. What an intro. My gosh. I really want to know though, what was there like a dark night of the soul then as well, not just about the kind of, having to rearrange your life and your profession and all of that, but like, what was the draw towards the spiritual counseling or the spiritual side of things? Like, did you always have a spiritual practice? Did you seek that? Like, were you striving for that because you had obviously worked in Avita and that's very much rooted in Ayurveda and things like that. So, we always drawn that way anyway. Like,
That's a good question. My mother, um, she was, she just passed in December. And since she's passed, and even in the last few years of her life, I really started to realize how she exposed me and my siblings to so many things.
mm,
I remember being 4 years old, and I was almost forced to watch black and white movies, you know, and listen to, the Beatles, the Moody Blues, the Rolling Stones, and just she immersed us in so much culture
mm,
and gave us full support to do whatever we wanted to do. I mean, I remember in third grade, I had made up my mind I was going to be an actress. I needed headshots. I needed an agent. I need classes. I mean, I was like, this is what I'm going to do and it's got to happen. And she did everything in her power as a very, very young, very, very single mom to make it all happen.
wow.
And and through that, through having that kind of support, I always felt very open to the capacity of exploring whatever I needed to explore. And in high school, I had specific teachers, especially my dance teacher in high school, introduced me to yoga. I remember watching the woman with the really long black braid on PBS that used to do yoga in the afternoons. And I remember watching her. And so I was always exposed to this other world. And I just
Mm,
felt like it was all available to me. So it was my upbringing and the exposure I had, uh, and really mm, seeing the effect that I could have on people just talking about face cream and
yeah.
connecting to them, just on a one-on-one basis, and never feeling like I really had to sell anything, but just to talk and understand somebody's needs. That
Mm,
phrase, find the need, fill the need. I think that's Zig Ziglar, find the need, fill the need. And it's still what I do. I find people's needs and I try to fill their needs with the tools that I have, with the tools that I've picked up from so many amazing teachers. So, my dark night of the soul, however, happened. It was pretty dark. I had my son was 3. Actually, it was his birthday. And on his birthday, my husband told me that he wanted a divorce. And it was an interesting timing. So that year, my son's 3rd year, I got a divorce. My husband had been in a profitable business, and the business completely collapsed. And I had to claim bankruptcy all in 1 year. And, in the scheme of tragedies, I'm not complaining. I'll take that tragedy. It wasn't so bad. At the time, it was devastating.
mm,
And I was living in Sedona. I've been here for quite some time now, almost 21 years. And so they say that Sedona will lift you up or spit you out. And I really thought I was getting spit out at that time, but it was only the beginning. And I'm so grateful that those things happened because I wouldn't be here if they hadn't. So that was my dark night of the soul.
wow.
Yeah.
A hard one.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
in the scheme of things, and after talking to people one on one, supporting people one on one for 17 years, really in hindsight, I think I got it pretty easy.
Oh.
It could have been much worse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm very grateful for that.
So, one question: how did you get yourself out of it? Because, like most people, you have two choices. You either spiral down with it, and that's the end almost, or you pull yourself out. And how did you manage to pull yourself out of it?
At the time, I was able to stay at home. It was the first time in my life I had ever not worked.
Mm,
I started a mommy and me group. I had the preschool at my house. I did everything in the
yeah.
community. I, got to know all the moms and get really close with the families. My son was in the Waldorf community. So I was very, very grateful for that. And I had to go back to work. And I wasn't excited about that, but I didn't have a choice. I had to, start supporting myself and my son again. And I went back to work for 3 years. So from the time he was 3 years old, I started back to work while I was in school, and till he was six, until that night in the airport. So those 3 years of going back to work and having that aha moment really changed everything. I didn't have time. When
Mm.
you have a 3 year old, we have a toddler, you don't have time to spiral. You know
Yeah.
what you have to do. You got to get up, you got to get moving, you got to go on. And honestly, I'm so glad that I was in Sedona, because I was surrounded by people that had had dark nights of the soul and knew how to be there for me. And I was very lucky,
Oh,
very,
that's
very lucky to
beautiful.
have that kind of support. Yes.
And
Yeah.
usually children's are pillars. Sorry, Susie, go ahead.
I was going to say something very similar. Sorry, finish your thought.
No, no, I was gonna. This my thought is that like children usually are the pillars that lift us up, which is
Yes,
like you were blessed with one that was there for you, if it was directly or indirectly.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I used to always say that about my kids when they came along. They weren't really planned. Like, I don't want to sound like I didn't want them, but I hadn't it all worked out when they were coming along. And I always kind of said in hindsight, you know what? They kind of kept me on the straight and narrow, because you kind of have to keep your shit together when you have kids. You've
Well,
got
we
to,
do our best.
yeah, you do. You have to kind of keep getting up and keep figuring it out. And if you're emigrating or moving country, or you have to keep just making things work out, like, and having food in the fridge, and
Yep.
laundry done, and that's how it goes. And I
Yep.
also felt like they kind of kept me kind of not losing the run of myself completely. Like, I think they keep it very
Yes.
real. And they still do.
And
They're
they still
adults.
do.
And
I was going to say, and at 21, he still does.
yeah,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Very
yeah,
grateful
keep
for
us on
that.
our toes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So go back to your work now. It's like you've really come a long way in your 17 years
Yes.
working one to one with people. Like, so what's the nature of that work? Does it vary? Is it more just spiritual coaching? Is there kind of personal development in there as well? Or, what kind of, is it professional kind of guidance? Like, how is it psychic? What sort of work do you do these days?
It's truly customized to every individual. So
Okay.
in the very beginning, I thought, in business 101, you're taught to, vision your perfect client and do everything you can to appeal to that one client. And in the beginning, I thought I would have probably mostly women that were in the process of leaving corporate America, starting something new. Like that was what I knew, that was what I was experiencing. So in the very beginning, that was my main focus. And when I started out, I don't know where this came from. I don't know if somebody recommended I did this or I just did it. I really don't remember. But I started out by reaching out via email to maybe a dozen clients that I had had in corporate America, clients, colleagues, etc. One particular colleague accepted a free session from me. I just said, "Hey, I'm doing this new thing and I'm going to be a spiritual counselor and I'm going to work on the phone. And so you want to call me for an hour and I can support you. I can help you. I can listen to, what's going on in your life and give you tools to help you feel better." And this one specific woman said, "Yes, me." And she was going through, I believe, a breakup at the time. And I said, "If you know anybody that I could help." And I talked to her for years. I still talk to her once in a while. And she said, "Yes, I do actually know some people that need some help." So then she referred me to a handful of people and they became clients, which I still talk to some of them to this very day, almost
Yeah.
17 years later. And they told people and they told people. And every time I got a new round of referrals, I would charge a little bit more and a little bit more, giving away those free sessions in the very beginning. And there were others that referred me, other previous clients and colleagues that said yes to my free offering. But that one human who I'm still so indebted to and so grateful for really kickstarted my entire career. And since that very day, I have built my entire private practice on referrals. I'm
Wow.
Last year I realized I had to start doing something on social media, so I started really putting some effort into my online networking. But prior to that, everything had happened via referral, and knock on wood, thank God, it really worked. So coming to the place that I am now, I absolutely could not have started a day sooner doing what I do. So I was 40 when I went back to school and 41 when I took my first client. And I had that 20-year experience of corporate America. I had the divorce, the bankruptcy, the losing a business, all the things I had been through, burying my grandparents, moving, buying and selling a house, losing everything. I mean, I had been through so much life by the time I was 40
Mm.
that really it felt like I just needed to gain some knowledge of how can I feel better? How can I
Mm.
balance my physical, mental, emotional, spiritual bodies? That was really my focus because I had spent so much time in my mental body and my physical body felt so exhausted, traveling all the time and schlepping and all the, stress of work and then having a child and the stress of, giving birth and taking care of a small person that relies on you 100%. I had enough life experience at that time that I actually had something to offer. Now you can go online and you can, be a life coach in 3 days, like there's so many ways you can be certified to support people. My certification is 100% life. Life is
Yes.
what gave me the experience because you can only help somebody with something that you either have experienced yourself and come out the other end, or
Mm.
something equal or parallel to understand. Because so much of what we do is empathy. It's
Yeah.
being able to sit with somebody and hear somebody. So I apologize, I got sidetracked on your question, but my answer to that question, how do I work with people, is very different. Sometimes it's just letting them vent. We
Mm.
might have to
Mhm.
vent for 3 weeks. Just get it out. Tell me the story. Let me hear it with zero judgment, with just complete observation and a loving space to hold and nothing else. And
Mm.
sometimes people have never told their story before. They've never said the dark night of the soul. They've never experienced the anguish that they've gone through. So sometimes just providing that space for someone can last quite a while before tools start coming in. So it really depends on the person. And working with that very niche type of client that I thought I was going to work with lasted about a week. Now I think my youngest client is currently 13 or 14, and my oldest
Wow.
client is just I don't know, turned 80 a couple years ago, so in their early 80s. And I
Wow.
work strangely lately, especially my clientele is actually about 40% men, which is so
Wow.
amazing and so exciting. And I feel so blessed to be able to support both men and women. And because I work on the phone and not in person, I can work with people all over the world. And I've been blessed to work with people in Australia and England and everywhere in between. So, yeah, it's been quite a journey.
That's
That's
cool.
amazing.
That's really cool to see how far your own life experience brought you. Like, not only did you survive, but went on to thrive, and then go and help other people through similar situations. Like so, but what your work is really rooted in, and I know what we it's about self love and how
Yes.
once we kind of connect with that, like I suppose what comes to me is put your own mask on first. You have to really take very good care of ourselves before we
Yes.
go to take care of others. And I know as a parent, you have to do that. You have to because you can, run out of gas very quickly if you're just going around the place trying to help everybody else. So, what would those practices look like for you,
Yes.
when it comes
Well,
to self love? Like, was that
yeah.
an ongoing sort of a part of an evolution? Like, did it happen gradually, or how did you wake up one day and go, "Oh my God,
I
I've
need to
gone"?
love myself.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, kind of. I think for me, it really started in my physical body
Mm-hmm.
and really feeling, just feeling such chronic pain. I have scoliosis, which can, not be so bad. And, in the scheme of things, it's great. If you have to have an ailment, it's not the worst. But my particular scoliosis causes a lot of stenosis, narrowing of the channel for your nerve. So when I was traveling so much and wearing completely inappropriate shoes, and working long hours and trying to fly home late at night, it was just it's very trying on the body to be moving to different states constantly and schlepping, suitcases full of product. And listen, in the scheme of things, it was a great job. I'm not complaining, but it was very taxing on my physical body. And so for me, self care really began in that spa industry world and receiving, complimentary massages. We're so glad you're here to do a training. Would you like to have a massage tonight? Yes, yes, I would. Thank you so much. And learning how to accept. And I remember the guilt I felt for getting a massage, laying
Oh,
on that, beautiful massage table in this gorgeous 5-star resort in, some, fabulous island, and receiving all of this beautiful love and care for free and thinking, who do I think I am? What my mother should be getting this massage, and going through the list, my sister, my mother, going through the list of the people that deserve to be here on this bed because it's not me. I mean, I remember that like it was yesterday, feeling those thoughts. And it realized that I wasn't going to move out of that feeling of guilt. I wasn't going to figure out a way out of corporate America. I was not going to have any success, love in my life, financial success. I wasn't going to evolve with that level of guilt. It was impossible. And I realized I didn't feel worthy to receive. And that was a shocker because growing up wanting to be an actress, I was like, hey, look at me, like, let's do a show, what can we do? And I realized it was not inside. That was all external validation that I had been seeking. And so all these realizations happened, honestly, really, really started coming to me after I had my son, like really started grounding in because that was the click that, oh, I'm not just here for me anymore. I'm here for this tiny little human being that won't make it without me. Right. And so that shift was very gradual and it started with my physical body, accepting support for my physical body and receiving that love. Then over studies and new information that I received, I really started understanding the idea of 4 bodies. We all have a physical body. It's the only way we can be human. We all have our emotional body, our hearts, and how we experience this dimension that we happen to be in. We all have our mind, our mental body, and we all, whether you believe in a God or not, we all have some sort of spiritual body, a soul, a connection to something greater than within us. And when that kind of map started showing itself, I started talking to clients about where they felt out of balance and doing a self inventory of the physical, mental, and emotional bodies. And, what I found is that usually people have one of those bodies in pretty good order. Usually
mm,
one is working pretty good for people, and the other 3 are usually suffering. It's very rare that someone that I work with comes to me with complete balance in all 4 areas. So over the course of, now almost 17 years, I started figuring out, well, what is it that I can help people? How can I help people? What can I recommend to people that nurtures each of these bodies individually? What is it that can tie all of this together so that we do feel worthy enough, or what I say is raise your deservability in order to actually open yourself up to receive what you desire. So for
mm,
me, manifestation, which is really what everybody wants to do, we want to manifest the love of our lives to show up, which I did. Thank you, God. It's amazing. We want to manifest the finances to have a whole bunch of zeros at the end. We want to manifest a body that feels 20 years younger, regardless of how old we are. We all want to manifest these things in all four bodies. And the only way that we can receive what we desire is to raise our deservability to match it. So you can desire, as I say often, you can desire a Porsche, but if your deservability is at a Honda, you're getting the Honda. Your deservability doesn't allow you to go any higher. So if you want to know what you deserve, if you happen to be listening to this podcast right now and you're wondering, well, what do I deserve? Am I deserving? Look around you. Your environment tells you how deserving you are. Your love in your life tells you how deserving you are. The money in your bank account tells you how deserving you are. Your deservedness is what you have, not just material. What do you have in your brain? Are you feeling creative? Do you feel inspired? What's in your heart? Do you have love? Do you have enough love to give? It's not just the bank account. It's not just the strength in your body, but those things reflect your deservedness as well. And if you think, well, I just have this, but I know I'm deserving of more, prove it. Go out, ask for more, go find those things that you desire, set your desire, and then start raising your deservability. So the four body,
How does that work?
yes.
So, how does that deservability just suddenly change from the Honda to the Porsche?
The Porsche.
You know?
Yeah. Good
Like
question. Good
it doesn't
question.
happen overnight. Like, so obviously
It
there's
does
limiting,
not.
everybody's got, they're carrying unconscious beliefs, limiting
All the
beliefs,
time.
there's
Yes.
all sorts of stuff in the way. And
Yes.
my understanding is that it's through purification practices like spiritual practice,
Yes.
meditation. What would your kind of go-to practice be for kind of addressing those blockages or those
Yeah.
limiting beliefs?
Well, the limiting beliefs in particular is a huge part of the work that I do with clients in releasing the pattern, releasing the imposter of thinking that this is our identity, that the victimized part of us is our identity, that if I behave in this way, which I've behaved since I was 7 years old, I will get what I need. But how long does it take for you to realize that it's not working anymore? So that's a lot of the work, the weekly work that I do with clients, talking about those
Mm.
limiting beliefs, releasing the patterns. And half of the work is just recognizing that you're in a pattern,
Mm,
recognizing that you still have that limiting belief. You know, my mom, bless her heart, being the free thinker, very liberal woman that she was, very early on impressed upon me that if you had a lot of money, you probably did something bad to get it. And that was my belief. That's what I believed. My, like, very most of my life, I believed that, wow, these people with a lot of money were really doing something bad. Like, what were they doing? And it imprinted on me that if I made a lot of money, then I would have to probably do something bad. And breaking that pattern was not easy because, you know, fresh out of college, I got a pretty good job. I mean, working for Aveda all of a sudden at 20, whatever I was, 22, 23, 24, you know, and going, oh my God, like I make what I thought I'm making a lot of money. Am I doing something bad? So breaking that pattern and breaking those limiting beliefs is the regular weekly work that I do with clients. For building deservability, it's what I call the foundation of self-love. And the practice is laid out in the books that the book that I've written and the three to follow. And that is, for the physical body, you have to move. You've got to move your body. I recommend 20 minutes a day. It doesn't matter. You can go swimming, you can hike, you can go to the gym, you can lift weights, you can get on a bike, you can get on a treadmill, you can dance, you can have crazy sex, whatever you want to do for 20 minutes to consciously move your body. And while you're moving your body, think about all the imprints inside of your body. You know, this is where I start touching on some somatic healing. Think about all the negative imprints that live in your body. If your hips hurt, something's going on in your hips. If your feet hurt, something's going on in your feet. And while you're feeling your body moving, imagine releasing anything that no longer serves you through the sweat, through your breath, through tears, releasing all of those negative imprints in the body. Just 20 minutes a day. Now, if you work out an hour on Monday, that doesn't count for Tuesday and Wednesday. You got to move your body every single day. But it doesn't have to be to exhaustion. just
Yeah.
enough so that you feel consciously that you've moved your body. That's a physical body. I do my workouts in the middle of the day. It helps me break it up so that I can do my, afternoon work and not feel exhausted. The first thing in the morning, wake up, go pee, don't brush your teeth yet, sit down, not in your bed, and meditate. I was meditating before I met Sarah McLean, and Sarah, going through her certification program, really shed so much light on meditation. I'm very, very grateful for her. I know,
Yeah.
Susie, that you work with her too. Amazing.
And we've had her on the
And
show. She's been on the podcast
oh yes, yes,
earlier.
I watched it. I watched it. Having so much knowledge, I feel so blessed to have worked with her and learned from her. That morning meditation for me personally has changed the way I think. It has really helped me be mindful
Hmm.
during the other 23 and a half hours of the day. It helps me catch myself when I start falling into my ego, when my fear body starts acting up and wanting me to play victim. It allows me to observe myself. So it's hard for a client to just start meditating out of the blue. So I start them
Totally.
off really slow. Just sit down, be quiet, light a candle if you want to, close your eyes and breathe. I'm breathing in, I'm breathing out. I start them so simple. I'm breathing in, I'm breathing out. 7 minutes. Just sit still for 7 minutes. That is quite a feat. If you have
It
never
is.
meditated before, that is like the impossible. You could probably climb Mount Everest faster, right?
If you
Yes,
could get Ramsey,
exactly.
if you can get Ramsey to do that, we'll be doing really well. Like I've been
Oh,
hanging out with him for 2
challenge,
years.
challenge. All
I
right.
keep giving
It's a
him the
deal.
benefits of it, and he's like, I think he's got this, monkey mind, and he's like, oh no, my walk is my meditation. I was like, no, that's your
Well,
walk. You know?
yes. And there are walking meditations, and that's great. But it doesn't, to me, my opinion is that it does not substitute sitting still. But that is a challenge, and it's on, Ramsey, whether
It's
you
on.
accept it or not, it's on. The funny thing that you said, that monkey mind comment, every single time I talk to a client that hasn't meditated before, and I tell them about the 7 minutes and just sit still and breathe in and breathe out and blah blah blah, and your mind's going to think about everything, just let it think about whatever it needs to think about, bring it back, blah blah blah, the whole story. They always say, I'm different,
Yeah.
I have a monkey mind, you don't understand.
Classic.
My mind thinks twice as much as everybody else. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
It is the absolute number one answer. So,
I think though. I think that just to address that too,
yes, yes,
I was working on some stuff on my website, and I was looking for images, and I put in meditator or meditate.
yes,
When I was searching for an image, like all the images that come up are these perfect people sitting in
yes.
these amazing places
Om.
with their with Gyan Mudra, and
Yes, yes.
I never looked like if I had a real picture of me meditating,
It's
I'm
not pretty.
usually drooling. It's not. It's not that. I'm in my pajamas. I'm like,
No.
but I look more like
Drooling.
I had a stroke or something like than anything else. So, you know,
Yes.
honestly, like meditators don't look like that. And
No.
I've run loads of retreats and workshops and taught all sorts of meditations to so many different people, and nobody looks like that when they're doing it.
No.
So I
No,
think
they
we
don't.
need some realistic representation for what meditation is, and we need to
Yes.
stop using those images because it's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous.
Agreed.
Anyway,
Agreed.
I'll let you
100%.
continue. I don't want to interrupt your
No,
flow.
no, that's such, no, that's so good. That's so good. So true. I'm sure I'm drooling the entire morning meditation. No, no question in my mind. So that weird step of, get up, go pee, don't brush your teeth. This is just my thing. I mean, obviously everybody can do what they want to do, but this really works for me. And I do recommend that people try it. When you brush your teeth, you are awake. You have all that
Mm.
mint flavor in your mouth. It wakes you up and it immediately sets you into your day. You're immediately onto the next thing, and you're 10 years ahead of it. So not brushing your teeth, if you don't have to pee, more power to you, but I gotta pee. Sit down, close your eyes, 7 minutes. That time is to connect with whatever is bigger than you. I believe that the divine is here and here and here and here and here, all around us, in us. I think we are all the divine. That is how I see
Mm.
my expression of God. Whatever, however you see it. I had a very beautiful client I love so much. She was actually my second client ever, and she didn't believe in God, which is great. A lot of people don't. And she didn't believe in God, and she hated the word God. It all bothered her. And so we called it Yoda, and it
Ah,
worked just fine. So
perfect.
she sat, and when she meditated, that's the image that came to her mind, this image of Yoda and his wiseness, and it was perfect and it worked great. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter. It will
Whatever works.
evolve. It will
Yeah.
evolve. It will shift. You'll discover something. It might be a blade of grass. It can be anything.
It
Oh,
can
it's
be
so
a number,
beautiful.
like, if you think of Herbert Benson, he was saying,
Yes.
meditate on
Yes.
counting, on numbers.
Yes. Yes.
No Sanskrit
Anything.
required at all.
That's right. That's right. That's
And
right. So that connection to spirit first thing in the morning, tremendous. But as we all know, hopefully by now, and if you don't, please Google benefits of meditation if you have a couple hours. The benefits of meditation are across all four bodies: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. It leaves nothing out. It affects you in every possible way. But we don't have time to go into all of that. If you connect to whatever the highest good is in you during that silence in your meditation, you are already won the day. Immediately, immediately, when your beautiful chime sounds in the distance and brings you back to this reality out of your meditation, pick up your pencil and start writing. I say start with 3 minutes, just the shortest little amount of time to get whatever's going on in your mental body, in your head, onto a piece of paper. Don't speak it into your phone and have it translate to text. Don't type it. Actually, get a pencil and a piece of paper and write for just 3 minutes.
Mhm.
Julia Cameron in The Artist's Way called it morning pages. She had you do 3 full pages. I'm just asking for 3 minutes. Dump your mind. Sometimes it's going to be the list of things you have to do today. And you know what? That's okay. But sometimes it might be a memory from childhood. It might be a
Mhm.
memory from childhood that's really weird or freaky, and whatever. Just write it down. Whatever's taking up the most space in your head, put it on the page. Once clients can do this practice for, say, somewhere between 7 and 21 days in a row, which is very hard, in a row, then I'll suggest some prompts,
Yeah,
maybe some of the four philosophical questions or something like that. But in the beginning, just write whatever the hell you want to write. And if you don't know what to write, write, I don't know what to write for 3 minutes.
there
Something
you
will
go.
come through. Yes. Last but not least is your emotional body. So we have meditation for your spiritual body, journaling for the mental body, movement for the physical body, and for the emotional body. And this has been a really interesting journey for myself and for most people, the way that I teach gratitude.
Hmm.
Everybody does gratitude. Everybody's grateful. Everybody's humble. Everybody is so, so, so blessed. And that's beautiful. But the key to gratitude, and this can be controversial, but I'm going to tell you all right now, the key to gratitude, 3 steps. What are you grateful for? Be so specific, super specific. I'm grateful that my friend brought me lunch today without a big ta-da, just showed up at my front door with some sushi. That's specific.
Hmm.
Great.
Nice.
Be grateful for what happened. Then, who's involved? Who else supported this thing happening, or this, moment, or this whatever? Who else was involved? Well, my friend was involved. Well, I'm really grateful to my friend because she knows when I have lunch. She knows my favorite lunch, and she knows that she can stop by anytime. She doesn't have to call. Wow. I'm really grateful that I have a friend like that. And that's
Hmm.
where people stop. But the third step is the part that will raise someone's deservability faster than anything. And that is bring the gratitude back to yourself. Because I have a friend like that because I have been vulnerable and open enough to allow someone to love me. I have a friend like that because I love her, because I see her, because I would give that to her. That
Hmm.
friendship is because of me. That moment in time, so much gratitude to her, so much gratitude to the experience. But at the end of the day, I created that. In fact, everything that I'm grateful for, everything that you are grateful for, you created. Well, I stopped the car the other day and I saw a sunset and it was so magnificent. I'm so grateful to that sunset. I don't have anything to do with the sunset. Yes, you do. The beauty of that sunset will go missed by 99% of people driving. But I pulled the car over and I stopped and I sat and I watched it. It was just a
Mm.
couple minutes because it goes away. It's just this fraction of a time every day if you're lucky to see it. I have the capacity to see the beauty. I took the time to honor that beautiful moment in nature. That gratitude is mine. When you start seeing that all these amazing, beautiful things in your life are because you have allowed it in your life, because you took the time to experience it, to create the friendships, to create the bond with your dog, to see the beautiful sunset, you start realizing, damn, I'm doing pretty good. I do deserve what I desire. I feel better. I am creating the life I want to live. And
So,
doing that 3 steps every single day shift your emotional perception, not just of yourself, but of the world. It was Gabby Bernstein talking
Mm.
about a storm, a flood, something that happened in New York. I don't remember. Not 9/11. Maybe it was 9/11. I don't think it was. And she calls Marianne Williamson to say, this really sucks. I mean, I feel like a victim. I can't get into my house. What's going to happen? Complain, complain, complain. And Marianne says to her, what are you doing? Get down to the roots of it. Go help. Go be of service. Go find the gratitude. And that changed everything. Gabby
wow.
was like, oh my God, what am I doing? And she did. She went and she helped and she became of service. And the gratitude flowed through her. Seva, the Sanskrit word for service, seva, selfless service, to be of service is the next level up. So
Yeah.
when a client can do this foundation, all in total, the whole thing takes less than an hour. You owe yourself at least 1/24th of every day, at least. If you do all those 4 things and you get them down and you start finding some balance in your life, it is time to be of service. So when a client comes to me and they are like, I'm starting to feel pretty good. I'm starting to, my problems are seeming less and less, feeling pretty good. I think I got this. My question is, and how are you paying it forward? How are you giving that to someone else? Where are you of service? That's the next challenge.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Quick question.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. You bring the gratitude back to yourself. It's
Yes.
awesome. Words are wonderful.
Yes. Give it to me,
But
Ramsey. I hear it.
we, okay, I'm not gonna say we, then I'm generalizing, but I grew up from a society
Yeah.
where that's bloody selfish. Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And how am I gonna get out of my selfishness to appreciate something when I should be always giving rather than receiving?
Yes. Well, good news. Our generation is dying. So eventually, all of us old folks will be out the door and this business of guilt will be done because I really feel like this new generation coming up is really getting a handle on taking care of themselves. And I
Yeah.
love seeing that so much. It's a really good question. It was definitely the biggest challenge for me and most of my clients. The answer is you can keep doing things the way you want to do them. And ultimately you will probably, well, you're going to be forced to stop, whether it's illness or depression or loss. There will be something that makes you so empty. It's not a prediction, it's not a threat, it's not an assumption something terrible is going to happen by any means. I've just seen it all too often. the
Mm.
the amazing giver, the martyr, I am so selfless, I put myself last, I give, 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 give. There's a huge difference between being of service, of divine highest good service, and
Mm.
giving out of guilt. And most people give out of guilt, and
It
Yeah.
that's not true
seems
giving.
to me that like when I think about seva, as in selfless service, it's
Yes,
about being able to give or to offer something without any desire about the
that's
reward
right.
or the benefit, or
Yes,
you're not looking for anything in return. It's just being
correct.
in that flow, in that moment, seeing a need and being able to meet it, like, and
Yes,
then moving on without getting kind of attached to a particular outcome, or like
absolutely.
you're not doing the seva so that you can rush back tomorrow morning and fill your 3 pages about, oh, I was
Right.
extra good
No,
yesterday. You might start
correct.
off a little bit like that. I remember when my kids
Sure.
moved away from home, I used to always say to them, they were like, I don't know what to do, and I see people, outside the tube station, and they have nothing, and I'm like, if you have something in your pocket, give it to them. I said, you know what?
Yes.
They probably need something, or buy them a sandwich or a bottle of water or something. But I said, if it when I did a bit of work, charity work, and I was in Calcutta many times repeatedly with this charity,
Mm,
and I used to be really like caught up by what we were seeing there. I was like, oh my god, this is
yes.
so hard. And my mentor at the time, she just said, well, if it's affecting you, it's you've got to do something about it. Because I was like, how come everybody else is just walking past this problem? Or, not everybody
Yes.
else, but the majority, like, we're just kind of ignoring it and getting on with their day. And I was like, how can we be so kind of, cut off from each other
Yes.
in this world? And she just always said to me, if it's right in front of you, and it's you're feeling it in your own heart, then it's for you. That's what you're here to do.
Yes.
And it's
Yes.
not
That's
to judge the
beautiful.
people who aren't doing it. She made that really clear to me. And I
Yes.
think that's when I discovered more about what compassion is, because I didn't
Yes.
fully get compassion, I'll be honest. When I was younger, I thought it all sounded like, oh, easy to say, but what really is it? So
Yes.
does that save it come into kind of self compassion, evolving into, compassion for each other, for others? Is that
Absolutely. Absolutely, absolutely. And thank God for people like you, Susie, that see somebody suffering and take the time to make a change. Working for a charity in Calc, I can't even I don't even know what that would feel like to do that kind of save. But that's so, so beautiful. And I'm so grateful for people like you that can do that kind of work.
Oh,
People ask me when
I
I
did
say,
nothing compared to the organization. Honestly, like, really, I can't even take that. I'm sorry, but go on anyway.
you were a part of it, and it's beautiful, and I am grateful to you for doing that. People come to me all the time and they say, well, I don't know what to do. I don't feel comfortable going to a soup kitchen. I don't know, I can't give money, whatever. Everybody has a million excuses when they first start doing seva. And I always remember two things. First, Mother Teresa said, if you want to change the world, go home and love your family, which I did not understand for most of my life. And especially now, so many clients, the first thing they will say is, I don't know how I can tell you about my problems when what's going on in the world is happening.
Mm,
And what should I do? What can I do? How can I make a difference? And, there's a lot of things you can do. And if you feel called to do them, do them. But the most important thing we can all be doing is taking care of our family, our friends, our world. If we love ourselves, which assist someone we love to love them, and they assist somebody to love somebody else, if everybody in the world loved themselves, there would be no war, there would be no hunger,
mm,
there would be no pain, nothing like we're experiencing. That self-love is truly, it is not just a belief, it is absolutely my passion, my purpose, it is everything. Self-love is the foundation, it is the necessity, it is the building block, it is everything to evolve. No matter what it is you desire in this life, no matter what it is you desire for this world, it must start with self-worth.
mm,
Self knowledge is the first step, knowing who you are. And that 4-step practice every single day, those 4 rituals, physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual body nourishment, is how you start discovering who you are. And as you discover who you are, you start creating self compassion. You start understanding and accepting, wow, I did that thing that I judged for so many years as wrong. I did that because of this, whatever this might be. I understand that version of me now. And you can go back and you can love that version of you. And you can bring that version of you back with you where you are today. And that kind of compassion allows you not to feel sorry, not to feel pity, not to walk over the person that is hurt, but to be able to give from your heart the love and compassion that every single human being needs. And when we reach that level of love and compassion and seva, then we're living in true divinity. And that's what I strive for every day. And that's how I support my clients and how I guide my clients to find that kind of self-love.
Love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
I'm so happy to be here with you guys. I could talk to you all day
You,
long. I'm so happy. I keep biting my tongue because I keep wanting to ask you both so many questions, but I'm trying to answer all of yours to the best of my ability.
no, uh, I love it because we all have this problem. One is recognizing who we truly are.
Mm.
We lose ourselves in the world. Okay, my generation, we were bathed in guilt.
Yeah.
We're still trying to get out of it, you know.
Yes.
And your words are so encouraging, and
Mm.
it just puts hope out there for at least someone like myself. And you said at
Mm.
the beginning, well, more men are coming to you, which is like
Yes.
phenomenal, and that makes my heart dance.
Yes.
Is like there is way out of it.
Mm.
You're
Yes.
not alone. And I think it was Eckhart Tolle that said, "You'll never recognize you're in prison. No, you can never free yourself from prison unless you recognize yourself in the prison." So there's
Yes.
that step one to just know that, hey, by the way, I am cornered in a four-wall area. Let me try
Hmm.
to dig myself out of it. And I guess your techniques are just like there to help,
Yes.
and I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ramsey. Thank you so much. And thank you so much, Susie. It was so nice to be with the two of you.
Same here. My God, I'm sure you have a lot to say, and I know Susie has something to say. So go ahead, go ahead. Do you have a couple
Well,
of
no,
questions?
I just love that in the whole episode we have managed to get some really good content put together. Like you've really given everybody who's listening today, like the 4 things to do in the morning. And I think you said to me that on your website, which we have there, evamaurice.com, you
Mhm.
can sign up for your newsletter and you can receive a PDF which outlines that in a lot more detail. So there's no
Yes.
time like the present, I always say, to get started. Everybody
Yes.
started these practices, whether it's gratitude, papers, or meditation, or
Yes.
couch
Yes.
to 5K, or whatever you're doing. Everybody has to start from where they're at, and
Absolutely.
like we're all a bit shaky at the start, and we're still shaky at a lot of things. You know what I mean? I'm very far from
Absolutely.
all worked out, like, but once you kind of establish a few little kind of day to day practices and daily routine that really supports you, and you add
Yes.
in that kind of self-care world, early in the day, I think too is best. But even if you don't get
Yes.
to it first thing, if you have a new baby or something and that's just not going to happen, or you're working shift or something, you can do that later in the evening as well. You could have a bedtime ritual with it, and do some of that work
Absolutely.
as you're going to turning in for the day. So, start where you're at. That's what I really believe in. And
Yes.
reach out. I think you have so much to offer people. And I know that they can connect through your website. And like, what better way to do this than have somebody who's there to counsel you through it? I think
Yes. Yes.
that's the
So
like
yes, I
we've all
I
benefited from what you have to offer back
thank
when we were
you.
struggling through our own kind of challenges.
Absolutely. Yes. And if I talk to someone and I feel that I'm not the right person to support them, I will refer them to somebody that I think could support them. I do my best to accommodate everybody's financial needs. So I will work with people financially if they are struggling. I do not think that finances should get in the way of support. And believe it or not, anyone that is listening to this at any time, if you feel called, if you need support, please you can go on the website or you can email me directly, which is just info, I-N-F-O, like information, info at my name, Eva Maurice. Info at evamaurice.com. And Ava's with an E, but you can see that on the screen.
Yes.
Email me, tell me a little bit about what's going on, and we will set up a time to talk. That is my seva. The way that I can support in selfless service is to support people no matter what their situation. So please do not hesitate to reach out no matter what.
Wow.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
your very generous gift and for being with us
Yes.
today and sharing your
Thank
story
you.
and
Thank
your
you.
tools. It's been such a pleasure. Really
Thank you
grateful.
so much. Thank you. Thank you, Ramsey. Thank you, Susie. I really appreciate your time.